I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite
podcast
on the Citadel.
Welcome to Andromenerds, the #1 podcast, Mass Effect related, on the internet.
And BioWare.
That's true.
Yeah.
My name is Minius of Minius GC, and with me are my co-hosts, Tucker from MassEffectFollower.
Hey, everyone.
That's close enough. And the one and only BioFan.
Hey, everyone. BioFan here. Apparently, my intro has more zest than Tucker's.
It does. we do have a fourth picked up, by the way. We have repeated technical difficulties. It's very difficult to get everyone working at exactly the same time and not have technical difficulties. I didn't know that until we did the show.
I mean, I had some technical difficulties. My computer was in the shop for a while.
Technically, we were totally fine until Tucker had computer technical difficulties.
Yeah. Which is why there hasn't been a video on MassEffectFollower recently and such, but getting all back into the swing of things.
I think you're fine. I think you're totally fine.
Anyway, Andromenerds post every week, now a bit earlier for our European friends, Thursdays at noon Pacific, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 at night in the UK, and 9 across most of Europe. If you'd like to contribute to the show with a question or topic suggestion, email us at andromenerds@gmail.com.
Yeah!
And normally, we start the show off with a topic, but this show is all questions.
Yeah.
Why is it all questions, Tucker?
Well, each month at MassEffectFollower, we have a giveaway of Mass Effect Andromeda on the winner's choice of platform. And for this month, as a way to bring views and promotion to Andromenerds, I made the giveaway. People had to email us a question at andromenerds@gmail.com. And because of that, we've had over 500 emails. I think it was actually somewhere around 700 when I was getting the final count.
Woo!
By the goddess.
By the goddess.
And because of that, we might not have gotten to your question. There were a decent amount of repeat questions, kind of surprisingly and not surprisingly at the same time. There were some repeats. So I just kind of grabbed the first person that asked that question. And also...
It's random selection, Tucker.
And also, I did not take questions of topics that we've already gone over in the podcast.
Just say random selection, Tucker. Makes it super simple.
The questions are RNG based.
So that means, is there anything I should know?
You have unread messages at your private terminal.
Hey, Kelly, what's up, girlfriend?
Oh, you have unread messages at your terminal. Oh, I'm Kelly.
Why does your character have a slight Irish accent?
I don't
know. Yeah, you got some unread messages at your private terminal?
All right. So the first one is from Siona Larson, and this person asks, what do you think about the possibility that some of the older races had already sent people to Andromeda and we will meet their ancestors?
Please no.
You don't want that? Like maybe the previous races that in previous cycles.
Oh, you mean from previous cycles?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Protheans and other peoples. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I think it might depend on if the people from the Milky Way are really fleeing the Reapers, because then there would be a kind of connection there. But
I don't think they... Okay, well, two things. First of all, I think that those races would distract from the current races going to Andromeda and the new races in Andromeda, so I don't think that'd be a good narrative move. And then also... I honestly don't think we can possibly be fleeing the Reapers. We can be fleeing the Collectors, though, because that's soon enough before the Reaper invasion, before a gigantic fleet of intergalactic ships would be leaving. And I'm pretty sure if the Reapers were around, they would all get, destroyed and stuff before they made it out.
Well, you can flee the Reapers before the Reapers show up.
Yeah, but then, I
mean, what, are you going to flee the Collectors? Oh, no, Collectors.
Well, I mean, it is a mostly human mission, and it was the human colonies that were getting attacked and kidnapped. Well, kidnapped, I say with quotation marks, so they didn't know what was really going on, by the collectors. So, like, that would kind of make sense. But, because we know we're leaving prior to the end of Mass Effect 3. And it has to be, like, prior to the beginning of Mass Effect 3. Otherwise, good luck getting out.
Yeah, we'll find out. I think that you were right in saying that the focus needs to be on Andromeda. And calling every single callback to the Milky Way is going to take away from that.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, if it's the previous races, like there are races that we know the names of, but we know nothing of, like the Zeoth, the Thorion, things like that. We really know nothing about them. I mean,
that would still bring in anything new that isn't an Andromedan race. Would distract from the Andromedan races. I
think it could go either way. I think it'd be really neat, or it could distract, and it might depend on the storyline. But I'm kind of siding with BioFan here. I think it might be a distraction,
unless it was like at the very end, like some hidden twist at the end had to do with that. That might still work narratively. But I think if you were to draw focus, it wouldn't work in their favor. I mean, it'd be cool, but it just wouldn't work in their favor in this circumstance.
You mean if it was brought on immediately, like, oh, you guys came from the Milky Way galaxy? Oh, yeah, that's where we're from.
Yeah, that's not impressive at all.
Yeah, then that would kind of take away from it. But maybe if it's like at the very end, like you see some like Prothean tech, and you're like, wait, what? Why is this? Why do you guys have this kind of technology? It's like, well, we brought this from our time. Like that's kind of at the end. You're like, oh.
I mean, that might work, but I just think it's safer if they don't.
Also, keep in mind, if you got one of those older races, let's say we'll go with the Thoi Han, who were, like 80,000 years beforehand? Some 80,000, 100,000 in that range. Or maybe 150. Doesn't matter.
The only information we know about them is a war that they had against the Inusan. However it is, at 127,000 years ago.
It's 127. Okay, I do not know my years.
For those that are less savvy and have no idea what you guys are talking about, would they be pre?
It's the cycle before the Protheans.
Pre-Prothean. Okay, so it's
yeah.
So it's 2 cycles ago. Okay.
Yeah, the cycle before the Protheans.
No, that was the Prothean cycle because Javik talks about them.
No, he talks about them because. That's where they learn their technology from, is from the
So
Anusanon.
It was the Protheans for the Protheans,
yeah, the Anusanon were the Protheans for the Protheans. Ilos is supposedly the Anusanon homeworld, and those little statues there are Anusanon. From that is at least the main theory. I don't believe that is officially confirmed, but it does look very good.
Well, that's just complicated.
Yeah, but anyway, my point all the way back to the beginning is that... if they're one of those races that left before, then they're going to have like 100,000 years of technological growth on you when you show up.
Well, yeah, and that would kind of do the thing of
the only way it would fit is if it was the Remnant, where they had an additional 50 to 80,000 years of technological growth and then died off. And
technically, the Remnant would have like a billion years because they don't have Reapers over there. So
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
we don't know how old they are.
They could also have evolved into that kind of thing. They could just evolved into such a high being that they
could have been. The twist could be they like were a race like a bazillion cycles ago from the Milky Way that made it to Andromeda and then evolved to the point where they are now or something.
Yeah, like how would you feel if it was a race that was in the Milky Way, but we know nothing of, like what you're saying? Like,
I would be so underwhelmed that I don't think it's something they should do at all. Like, okay. I'd be so underwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. It was just kind of interesting to think about.
What's the next question?
I think we need more story details.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
All right. Mike Sheed says, on N7 Day, if you got the chance to see the one thing on Andromeda you most wanted to see than anything else, what would it be and why? Now, let's not say like gameplay and stuff, because we all know that's what we want to see the most.
All of the hair options in the character creator.
Oh my god!
So, do you want to see like kind of what the character creator looks like?
If I got to pick one thing, it would just be the hair in the character creator.
Oh man, I am glad you are not designing this game. It's gonna be like Hairstylist 2001.
Can't wait for the Mass Effect DLC when it's different hairstyles.
Instead of a Renegade interrupt, you can do a Beyonce-style hair flip.
Your hair just like whips him in the face.
Just hair, like whoop him in the face with your hair, yeah.
I want to see Turians.
So you want to see other races we brought on?
Well, I want to see who else came along, yeah. I want to see if they're Turians.
Well, I mean, I feel confident that we'll see Turians no matter what, so I was kind of going for something less likely. But, I mean, if you want Turians, you can want Turians.
I mean, I would kind of like to see some of the smaller things that you could make, or that you could get ideas off of, like the achievements that are going to be in Mass Effect. I would love to see that.
Well, those will be released like eventually.
Oh, I mean they will, but I would like to see that on 7 Day because you could go through the list of you have to explore or you have to find a certain amount of X items. Okay, well, what could those items be? What could this be? What could
they can make those pretty vague. Like with Inquisition DLC, they made them pretty vague because they knew they'd be coming out before with like a patch before. In the DLC itself, so they made like the achievements pretty vaguely worded.
Or I would just like to see some smaller things be released that could really blow up ideas and theories and things like that. Like I would.
Isn't that kind of unlikely though?
Well, I mean, we're going to get some big stuff like gameplay and whatnot, but I would also like them to throw something.
Tucker is picking what Tucker wants. Okay, Minius, this is his choice.
I mean, they're going to show gameplay and stuff like that, but I wouldn't mind them throwing a little kind of under detail, like show a character but not show the character, and theories, who's that person, things like that. Like I would like there to be still some mystery in what they're showing or something small, and let the fans come up with huge theories based on this small thing.
Can I throw in a second option because I know that it's something everybody would want?
What?
Romance options.
Yeah, just show us a romance scene.
Just show us, just tell us who our romance options are and who they're available to.
Show their names, but not what they are or who they are.
Yeah, just their names and who can romance them. Like if they're open to female writer, male writer, or both.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Huge tease.
Huge tease. But that's what I want, okay? I want the hair and the romance, and that's all I really need. Yep.
All right, next question is Christopher Sorrentino, and this person asks, what I was wondering is what other types of games would you like to see in the Mass Effect universe? What time periods would interest you as well? I always thought an RTS game set in the Rachni Wars or the First Contact War would be a fun way to get immersed into the rich lore of Mass Effect.
Do they mean like a game in the game, or a game that's Mass Effect, but it's a different kind of game?
A game that's Mass Effect, but a different one. Kind of like Halo Wars is in the Halo universe, but it's an RTS game. It's not a first-person shooter.
Okay, so like in the franchise. Okay.
Yeah. I imagine you would like a Sims kind of game, where you could pick an alien race and now you make a Sims.
Yeah, like a Mass Effect version of Sims.
I imagine you'd like that, BioFan.
Maybe a Mass Effect Andromeda Sims would be fun, because then you could build like a settlement, and then like manage the settlement, and have like babies and stuff. That'd be fun. I like that.
I would like some kind of space naval combat from the First Contact War.
Ooh.
Like a fighter simulator or something of that line. Maybe you got to control a capital ship.
Kind of like like a flight simulator or something.
Something like that. Yeah, there are not nearly enough games where you control spaceships.
That'd be cool. I mean, like this person example, I love RTS games, so I would love one with like the First Contact War, where you're in control of the humans and you have to defend and rebel, or defend and push off the Krogan attacks, or not Turian.
Has there ever been an RTS game exclusively in like a full-on 3D space, more than 360 degrees? Where your fleets you can get attacked from above or below or from the right.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, there are RTS games where you can have aerial troops and whatnot.
Well, that's still like more of a flatter plane. I love RTSs. I love them. I also suck really bad.
So I'm gonna do what I'm now calling pulling an anima. What does RTS stand for?
Real-time strategy.
There you go.
Have you ever played like Red Alert or like the Command & Conquer series or Total War or Halo Wars, anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah, I knew what it was. I just was making sure, because I'm sure other people listening to those didn't know, so I'm calling it a pulling an anima. So
okay.
In case people weren't sure.
It's I've really been getting into XCOM, so because the new one is coming out on console.
Yeah, that's not a real
No, that's turn-based.
That's turn-based. I love turn-based strategy games.
I love a turn-based one. Like, kind of maybe a horror-esque. You have to defend Earth from, like, maybe you're defending Earth from the Reaper attacks while Shepard is out and doing stuff, and now you have a turn-based kind of thing, similar to XCOM, against the Reaper forces.
Just while you're talking about XCOM, because quick recommendation, if you haven't played XCOM because you don't have a great PC, now it's out on console, go get it.
Oh, it's
phenomenal game.
Fantastic. Just like Mass Effect, your choices matter in that game.
Have you guys ever played Enchanted Arms? It came out on like the 360 like an eternity ago.
No, I have not.
Okay.
I haven't, no.
Well, that was a really good turn-based combat RPG. Just throwing that out there. I like the turn-based.
I kind of like it when games, franchises branch off into other genres and try it out, like Halo Wars with Halo.
One thing that would be interesting about that, though, is now that Mass Effect is moving to Andromeda, do they want to go back to the Milky Way?
I think the Milky Way's done.
I think we're done with the Milky Way, aside from a Mass Effect remastered.
Well, I mean, at least in the story point where we were, I mean, again, maybe something about the First Contact War, but there is that theory going around of...
It's really touchy. The whole Milky Way deal, it's really touchy.
I mean, there is that theory going around that the opening of Mass Effect Andromeda is going to be the First Contact War.
I don't think it'll be the First Contact War. It opens in the Milky Way, though.
Wait, how would that work? I'm not familiar with that theory, because that...
Is our, like, grandpa in the First Contact War, and something
well, the theory is...
goes to us, or something?
The theory is that, similar to Assassin's Creed 3, you're going to open up playing as the father in a different timeline. So you'd be playing as the father during the First Contact War. And I actually think that, from a story point, that'd be really good, because...
He's for sure in Andromeda, though, in the trailers.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it doesn't mean he dies in Contact War.
They could change the lore up for the First Contact War, but the First Contact War, mostly a naval battle.
Well, I mean, I just think
there's small commando ops on the ground and rebellions and stuff, but basically the Alliance fleet drives the Turians out of the system.
Yeah, and that's what the tutorial would be like, is the tutorial is a
but there's
actual
no
contact fight, not a naval fight.
That didn't happen very often, but yeah, maybe.
But I think that would...
Okay, so how many years ago was the First Contact War from Mass Effect 3?
About 30.
30? Okay.
Yeah.
Then I guess our dad could fight in the First Contact War, technically.
But I think that if that is true, that would be a fantastic thing, because, you're opening up the game with the First Contact War of humans fighting against this, the first time they're meeting aliens, that you're getting into this fight. And then it would kind of replicate itself when you go to Andromeda, is you're opening up the game, fighting against Turians when you first meet them, because you're scared, you don't know who they are, they're fighting you, and you're trying to defend yourself. And then you go to Andromeda, and the same thing is happening there. It is their First Contact War. So I think that would be a really good thing from the story point.
It'll have to match the First Contact War. The First Contact War is very specific in why it happened. I do not know if that'll match, but it could work. It could work.
I'd rather they focus on the Andromeda part.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you got to have a tutorial somehow, and so why not?
Yeah, well, our tutorial can be in Andromeda going to the first planet.
So
and whatnot.
I believe that Aaron Flynn literally said the game starts when you arrive. That is a direct quote.
The game opens with you leaving.
Well, that's the game. Do you consider the tutorial to be... I don't consider the tutorial to be part of the game. I consider the tutorial a skippable kind of part.
There will be a brief clip of you leaving Earth.
I don't know if that's...
trailers.
Well, we'll see. That's a direct quote from Aaron Flynn. It's in a Sony stream interview. It's not as if it's...
It can be literally 5 seconds of us leaving for Earth, and then immediately we're over in Andromeda.
That's a really lame tutorial.
Or maybe it's, I don't know. Well, it's in the game
Press
somewhere
the X
where we're
button.
leaving Earth, because it was in the trailer, and everything in that trailer was in game.
Press the X button, go to sleep. All right, game starts.
Well, I mean, it could be like a flashback of like...
Press the F button to pay respects.
The game could open like with us arriving in Andromeda, and there's like some talk and like maybe like a visual flashback to leaving Earth or something. I don't know.
I think it's way more interesting to start the game. You wake up you're in a really brand new area, figure out what your surroundings are immediately. You're in trouble. You're missing some ships. You may not have enough people to survive. Just start right there, right in the action, as opposed to stretching it out.
But I'm just thinking of the tutorial is, you wake up. It's just like someone waking up from a sleep and you're groggy and, you're playing as riders, like shambling over to the kitchen, making eggs, like press X to crack egg. So you're just making eggs and stuff and slowly kind of
riveting
waking
intro,
up.
Tucker.
I'm just thinking of like, that's the tutorial.
Sounds like Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah. Or what was the other? What was that PlayStation game that was extremely cinematic?
I wonder how they got the egg to stay fresh for several hundred years. That's the real question.
Are you thinking
here.
of Metal Gear Solid 4?
No.
You sure? Because they cook eggs like every intermission scene.
No, I'm thinking of it's like one where there's like a 4-hour tutorial in the game. It's can't remember what it is.
Guys, the real question here would be how did they get an egg to stay fresh for 700 plus years?
It was in the cryogenic thing with you.
Yeah, problem solved, man.
Cryogenic eggs, that sounds
Heavy
delicious.
Rain, that was it. I heard Heavy Rain has like a 5-hour tutorial.
Well, the whole game is like a quick time event thing, so I mean,
okay, what's
whatever.
the next question?
Next one is Hector Ortega, and this person asks, since the basis for Andromeda is the game colonizing, misreading that, since the basis for Andromeda game is colonizing a new galaxy, how do you guys think communication, if any, back to the Milky Way galaxy will be made?
None.
So you think they're just going to send them without any, hey, maybe they should communicate us if it works?
None.
Well, here's the issue with
that. Even if they did, the fastest transmission they could send would be probably speed of light. They can travel faster than speed of light to get there, but probably sending a message, I don't know that they could do faster than speed of light, and speed of light would take 1,000,000 years to get back to the Milky Way.
Let's say you're fleeing the Reapers, and you're like, hey, we got here, we're safe, and the message goes to the Reapers. They're like, hey, check it out, those guys got away. Maybe we should go kill those guys.
Hey, Reapers, we're over here.
I like to imagine the Reapers are like, all right, we wiped them all out. Hey, what's this message we're getting? Oh, they're in the Andromeda Galaxy? Oh, let's just take a right up here. We'll get there in 20 years. We got this.
Actually, it would take them 200. Do the math.
They'd still do it, and they'd still kill everybody.
They'd still do it.
If it really depends on why they're leaving, and if they're leaving to flee something, sending a message back saying, hey, we made it, we're all safe and stuff. Terrible idea. Just a dreadful idea.
Terrible. I'm thinking it's a one-way only kind of situation.
It's just like as trying to escape a killer, and once you get a mile away, you set off an air horn, and they got a motorcycle and you're on foot.
They're in the Andromeda Galaxy. Oh man, we just gotta take it right at the Armstrong Nebula. It'll be just right over there. We can almost see it. I love that.
What's the next question?
All right. Skippy the Clown says, at the end of
That is a beautiful name.
Yeah, I got that one and I think 2 others that aren't actual people's names, or at least I don't hope they are.
That Narwhal Nachos one from last time. Nice.
Nice. So this person asks, Skippy the Clown asks, at the end of Mass Effect 3, as Joker is flying the Normandy away from the blast of the catalyst and went into the black hole, do you think that they landed on a planet somewhere in the Andromeda Galaxy?
No.
That's a very common question.
It's a common question. It is kind of an interesting thing to maybe talk about a little bit. I mean, even though I don't think any of us think that is what's going to happen. It's just maybe
hard no.
It's just maybe think maybe an Easter egg or something of you see a bit of the crash Normandy, or you might see part of the Normandy shell.
At most an Easter egg, at very most, but it's so touchy. It is so touchy. They would never do that.
There's a couple internet developer quotes that lean against that. The first one is no familiar faces in Andromeda.
Well, it's a ship. That's not a face.
But Joker's in it, and he has a face, right?
Well, no, I mean, because they're there and say it's been years.
Edie would be alive.
Well, I mean, Edie could rust. Edie could, maybe something happened and she got destroyed.
Well, I mean, her face would still be there. It would just be a rusty face.
Well, not if it gets blown into pieces.
Okay, Tucker.
Okay, just no on this question.
The second thing is that the endings are not supposed to impact the game, right?
Oh, that's right.
There you go.
Well, if in the endings, the Normandy can blow up.
The Normandy can also have people that are glowing in green on it. So
it doesn't fit. There's no way to have
very hard no
ending impact and then have the Normandy show up. It's literally impossible.
That is a very fun kind of question to to think about, but it's not happening.
Can we also touch? I know it's not a question that somebody asked, but I know I'm ineligible to get your prize. But I want to ask a lot of people talking about the Asari from the gameplay stuff and the other trailer as Liara's daughter. Can we also shoot that one down?
Yeah, that's gonna
similar reasons.
Liara's daughter wouldn't have been born in time and grow up in time unless she had a secret daughter.
This is a question that was given. I didn't save it because it was weirdly worded, but I think what the person was trying to get across is, do you think that Liara's secret to Shepard before the final battle was that she's pregnant?
No,
and even if she was, same deal. Liara can die.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
So if she dies when she's pregnant, she probably doesn't give birth.
I'm pretty sure that anything that can happen that way, like a person dying or being alive or a consequence, that's not going to be involved in Andromeda.
Whoever goes has to go before the end of Mass Effect 3. So, unless she had a secret daughter...
I'm just curious, do we know how long, Asari remained pregnant?
I don't think so.
I would assume their... Is it gestation period? Is that the word?
Yes.
Okay, so their pregnancies would probably, I would assume, last near human length.
About
probably.
9 months?
Yeah, I would say probably around 9 months, maybe give or take a few.
Is this a biology question?
Yeah, this is a biology question. They're pretty similar to humans in most biological aspects. So I would say probably close to 9 months.
That's just
maybe
kind of
shorter. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's defined at all.
All right, next person is Bryson, and this person asks, do you think that the Arks will be transporting other species for testing, like the Solarians were doing? Maybe have some holding cells for Varen, Yogg, Pyjax, or whatever else to run experiments on.
I think they'll be running experiments on the things in the Milky Way instead.
You mean the Andromeda galaxy?
I mean, okay, guys, it's been a long day. I mean, in Andromeda.
I don't know. I think that maybe if they were working on experiments maybe they were working on an experiment on one of the creatures about improving health. It's like, well, bring that along with you. Keep working on it.
The answer is maybe, but generally in space travel, space on ships is very limited. So instead of taking along some Varen to poke with a stick, what if someone wants to live and make it to Andromeda? They're like this poor orphan child. You're like, no, I want to poke this Varen with a stick. You got to stay home and die.
Well, I mean, you saw how huge the Arks are.
Doesn't matter if you're taking
I'm sure
if you're taking 1 million people. Let's say you're taking 1 million people. That's a lot. You need all of that space.
Even if you're taking 10 people, you still need all of that space.
You can also use them for food. So
you just poke the Varen a couple times and then eat it.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean,
I would strongly suggest not eating an experimental Varen.
I mean, to be fair, they know that they can eat that. They're not sure of what they can eat in Andromeda.
I'm pretty sure they're confident they'll find food in Andromeda. I think that's a pretty safe bet.
They had Varen skewers at the Mass Effect New Earth press day.
I still have yet to check that out. I still want to go try that, but
it was beef, but it was very good.
Obviously, so it wasn't real Varen? Surprising.
It wasn't real Varen. Pre-order canceled.
I'm shocked.
They also had Asari iced tea, which was the blandest tasting flavored water ever. That was disappointing.
With blue food
That'd been awesome
color?
if they had that Drell alcohol.
Yes.
They had no alcohol.
I do still want to check out New Earth. I have yet to do that.
It's fun to be there. It's definitely fun to be there. They released the entire video online, and I think that might have been a mistake because it does not translate at all. It's a bit like watching
I watched
VR.
the video. IGN put it up when it opened, and I was like, I'm not impressed.
You got to be in the seat, pretty much.
You gotta be in it.
It's one of those things where you have to experience it yourself.
You actually, like, at some point during the ride, you get sprayed in the face with nasty smelling liquid.
Oh, so it's kind of like, the Bug's Life thing.
I really want to go on this ride, Minius.
It's like this arachnite pops up on the screen, and then you get like a puff of like wet air in your face, and you're like, oh, it's
like sulfur smelling or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if it smells that bad.
Well, I'm just remembering A Bug's Life. If you guys ever went on one of those rides, it was the same kind of thing.
I have not been on any of. No, yeah.
All right, next one is Judah Ogbui. Judah Ogbui, I'm going to go with that. Do you think that Mass Effect Andromeda will include, if not replace, certain aspects of combat with stealth components?
Maybe. I mean, they're improving the combat system in general, so I don't know.
I mean, I love stealth. Whenever I play games, I like to do stealth, hit people from long range, do stealth, and whenever I try to do that in Mass Effect, it doesn't work. So I just kind of went with the soldier class to bust through. But I would love if there is you can put silencers on your weapon, you can play missions without alerting enemies, and kind of do that.
But optional.
Oh, optional, definitely.
Hasn't there been only really one successful stealth open world game?
Thief?
Like it literally.
Is that what you're talking about?
Talking about Metal Gear Solid 5, which came out while they were developing the game.
Well, there's Dishonored.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an achievement for beating the entire game without killing a single person.
But those are designed entirely along. They're designed entirely along stealth, though.
There's Assassin's Creed Syndicate. It's pretty open.
All right, yeah, I like stealth games, but I don't know if that would work.
I would like the option because, Mass Effect is all about choice, and there is the choice of playstyle. Well, here is another choice you can make. Do you want to charge in being loud, or do you want to have the option to, if you want, be stealthy? And then, if you f*** up, now you have to fight.
It's not where I would want them to place their priorities.
That's why I'm thinking Metal Gear Solid 5, because there are cities, not really cities, but like little towns or villages, and then you can walk around the outskirts and figure out where everyone is and then choose an entry point to go in, which is awesome, but also changes the game significantly.
Well, what about with Kasumi's DLC? That's the stealth part of that game, of that mission, was a lot of fun.
It's very short, though.
It was short, but it was kind of fun. Like, you had to be sneaky and had to not alert anyone.
I'd rather they focus on making the game amazing before they add any stuff like that,
This game has so much going on that I think you're right. I think they need to launch it and then see where they can go from there.
I don't think they should experiment too much with it just yet. I'm sure they have in some places. We just don't know yet. Probably the open world thing is enough experimentation that I don't think they need to do anymore.
All right, this one is from Sheldon Thorne. And this person asks, would you like to see space battles, as in spaceship cruiser battles, sort of like naval battles in Assassin's Creed? So basically, do you want there to be ship combat?
Well,
was this question at all related to Mass Effect?
I'm assuming
would you like to see space battles, as in spaceship cruiser battles, sort of like naval battles in Assassin's Creed?
This is a Mass Effect podcast, not an Assassin's Creed podcast.
Yeah, but that's why it's assumed that he's talking about Mass Effect.
Again, I'm going to reread it. Would you like to see space battles, as in spaceship or cruiser battles, sort of like naval battles in Assassin's Creed?
Oh, naval battles in Assassin's Creed.
Yes.
Okay, I get it now. I get the wording there was. I was like, wait.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that if it was something like
sure,
dogfighting or.
Yeah, I already back to that earlier question. Yeah, I'd love to see space combat. I don't think we will,
sure,
but I would love it.
Didn't they say at some point that we weren't going to have space combat?
There's some weird wording, but yeah, the only controllable vehicle apparently is the Mako. So you can extend that however far you want to.
So I'm going to say it's not going to happen. I'm not counting on it.
As much as I would love it, and even if it was like a short kind of thing, like the Halo Reach mission where you were in a ship for like 5 minutes and fighting around, even if it was for something short like that, I would like it, but I don't think it's at this point, we would probably have heard something.
Maybe DLC, but I'm saying unlikely.
DLC is possible still.
I'm going to still say unlikely even then, but that's probably your only possibility.
All right, this person, I love the question and love the name. So this one is Some Brownies. And this person asks, to what extent do you want exploration to reward you? So how do you want to be rewarded by exploring?
Finding the cool loots and stuffs.
So better loot, exploring.
Getting the loot, getting the coin.
I mean, I would like the more you explore, like, again, this is back to resource gathering. If you have to go out and collect resources or find new resources that could possibly improve and upgrade, I would love it that the more you explore, the more resources you find, the more new animals and plants you discover, the better the ending. But I also don't want to limit the exploration for people who don't do it.
Tucker. Let's not gonna. They don't want it now.
I would like you to be able to find quest lines by exploring.
So side quests?
Side quest lines that are story based, but you have to go find this village that sets up an amazing side quest storyline. That'd be very, very rewarding as far as exploration goes.
It'd be very rewarding, but also think about the amount of time and effort and everything that goes into making a super awesome side quest if that's only for people that are very heavy on exploring.
Yeah, I know.
They still did that stuff with Inquisition, though.
It would be really cool. I remember there's this one quest line in The Witcher 3 where you need to throw your friend a party, and he's kind of a douchebag. And he's like needs all this stuff, and then it turns into an amazing murder mystery plot line that's easily missable, and that was an awesome experience.
Or in Fallout 4, there was this one hotel you could go to. It was semi-exploration. The quest giver was in the main village area, but if you found this hotel, then you got to basically play a Fallout 4 version of Clue with robots. And I will confess to you right now that I may or may not have had sex with one of those robots.
Well, damn.
More people to have sex with. That's what exploration needs.
The more you explore, the more sex you have.
You find more aliens to bang.
The more you explore, the more you get to explore.
You're just exploring around. Oh, another dive bar. Let's see what's in here.
Oh, God.
One of them is from Samuel MK. Samuel MK. And this is, hello. This is Samuel MK from your MWF Calculus 1 class. The dates I may miss class for soccer games are October 26th and November 28th. And November 30th and December 2nd. Thanks. Now, I want everyone to go wish him the best of luck for his soccer games, as he's going to be missing Calculus 1. I actually replied to him wishing him the best of luck in his soccer games. But I don't think he meant to send it to us, and someone's going to be really confused when he doesn't show up to class.
Samuel, I think you need to email your what was it, calculus professor? You need to email your calculus professor.
If you know Samuel McKay and you're in his calculus class, make sure to tell everybody that he has soccer games.
Does it say what university it goes to?
I don't want to give away his email address. That's all a bit too mean.
No, I'm not going to give away his email address, but. All right, next one is Nathan Childress. And this person asks, what was the most emotional scene for you in the Mass Effect trilogy?
That is a tough one.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Morden's death.
Oh, God.
Especially if you're doing Paragon with him, you don't try to shoot him. When he's up there and he's, you can see that he knows he's going to die. But when he releases the cure, right before he dies, you can see he's smiling. He's happy. You can see him breathe like, I have fixed everything wrong that I have done.
Getting hit with the feels over here. Oh.
I don't know if I can top that.
Yeah, I don't think I can talk that.
The one line is, I would love to work on seashells. Oh, that was an emotional one.
Patrick Weeks. Damn you, Patrick Weeks!
There's a scene that most people probably didn't do, but let's say you didn't, in Mass Effect 3, you didn't go around and get enough rep, and you're forced to kill off either the Geth or the Quarians.
Ooh.
Like, there's the scene like where like if you're going to kill off the Geth, Legion attacks you because he's like, I don't want to get, and you have to kill him. Or Tally will
shoots
like
herself.
Jump off a cliff.
Well,
And
she'll shoot herself and then fall off.
She takes the nesty
no,
plunge.
she just jumps.
And
she shot herself.
No, okay. she takes off her mask, looks at you, and I mean you don't see her, but you can kind of feel the emotion there, and then she just falls off the cliff backwards. They're tough to watch.
It's not necessarily if you don't have the resources. This one time, I made this huge mistake of saving a bunch of people instead of one important person, and then I couldn't save both the Geth and the Quarians, even though I had like a ton of resources.
And there's when Legion is dying, he asks, "Does this unit have a soul?" And Tali tells him that yes, this unit does have a soul.
Both of those scenes are really rough.
Or there's also this is emotional, but kind of a different thing of the opening scene of Mass Effect 2, seeing the Normandy being blown up and then all your crew members dying, and then the DLC of the Normandy crash, going like where it goes around just the flashbacks of all your crew members. And
yeah, that's kind of hit or miss depending on people. There are people who really don't like that mission.
I mean, that is hit and miss, but I mean, that is kind of with the opening scene, you see the Normandy blowing up, and especially if you were a big fan of the first Mass Effect game and you're going right in and it's blowing up, you're like, oh, like my crew is dead. Like, everyone that I now know is dead from that.
Oh, whenever you have that, like, final talk with your romance option before, like, the final mission to the beam, that always gets me, like, right in the feels. Or when in the extended cut, like, your other squad mate carries your love interest onto the Normandy and, like, you have that final goodbye, like, feels.
Oh, what about Anderson when he dies?
I'm not counting the ending.
Well, that was rough. That's true. You kind of have a man crush on Anderson, but you're correct. That got me a little bit.
Yeah, that got me a little bit too. It was kind of delayed though, because like he gets shot and then he's kind of stumbling down around for like a good 10 minutes.
What about Thane?
So, I mean, don't hate me, people.
Thane had an awesome death. He had
don't hate me, people, but Thane kind of had a cool death.
If you romanced him, then it was pretty emotional.
I mean, I liked Thane more in Mass Effect 3. I didn't really like him that much in Mass Effect 2.
That's
don't
what he's
hate me, listeners, but like
that's what you're talking about, right? The Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, when he gets killed by Kai Ling.
He had a cool death. I wasn't.
That's
sad.
like it's more along the lines of he was going to die, and he got to die in an awesome way as opposed to dying slowly.
He died
like,
with
he got
honor.
to die in a really noble way instead of in like a hospital room.
Going after a Reaper enhanced assassin and preventing him from getting to his target. And that's.
And how badass is Thane at the fact that on his deathbed he was able to go toe to toe with a Reaper tech infused assassin.
Yeah, he's badass.
In karate fight. Yeah.
It's like he is on his deathbed and he's able to toe fight that thing. I'm realizing a lot of the very emotional scenes I'm thinking of are all from Mass Effect 3. Not counting the Mass Effect 2 one, but again, what about Reapers invading Earth and you have to leave Earth, like right in the beginning of it?
Yeah, but I mean, we knew that was happening.
Well, yeah, but it's still like you're seeing Earth being destroyed.
That Leaving Earth soundtrack music.
Oh, yeah, that too.
That, no matter where you put it, you could put it on like a funny cat video and I would still cry.
But still, my vote goes to Morden's death.
Morden's death.
Yeah.
Saddest moment ever.
The other little minor thing to bring up, because I know people are thinking it, and we've talked about this on the show before, the Elcor asking you to save his people thing. That's just it's just a couple words. You don't get cutscenes or anything like that. But you're right about Mass Effect 3 having this stuff.
Mitchell Hobbs asks, would you rather have a remaster of the trilogy or have them become backwards compatible?
Remaster.
Yeah.
I have a video on this on MassEffectFollower, and there's pro and cons to each. If it's a remaster, you have to pay $60 and get them all back, while backwards compatible, it's free, so it's more open to everyone.
I'd rather pay for the remaster and have like a prettier version.
I mean, I would go with remaster too, because that would also open up the availability for people on PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Because they don't have backwards compatibility.
It'd be more available for everyone.
Well, there's a chance they could put it on their streaming service that they got. It wouldn't be the same.
No, it wouldn't be the same. But I would rather a remaster, but I can also, there are also definitely some pros to backwards compatibility, which, they don't have to divert a lot of time away from Andromeda to make it backwards compatible. And it's free. It would be free for all those who have Mass Effect 2 and 3.
I think they could just kind of like hire on a specific team or kind of like hire it out to someone else to just do all the graphics. Because all the lines are there, all the dialogue's there.
If you want to see what that looks like, look at the Master Chief Collection launch. I mean, that was they gave that to another company to do.
I could go either way. I don't feel strongly about this subject.
This one is YouTube, a bit more personal to us rather than about Mass Effect. Dakota Toner says, how did you all come to doing the talks about Mass Effect games? How did y'all start out with your YouTube accounts?
I started out on the BioWare forums because I played this thing called Dragon Age Origins, and it was like the best thing that had ever entered my Xbox, ever. And I started out kind of on the forums, talking with other fans. And then I met some fans that just happened to be YouTubers, like Ability Drain, and that kind of got me inspired to start doing YouTube videos.
All right, Minius, what about you?
I always wanted to do videos of some kind, and I started getting into watching YouTube pre-game stuff, and then the big Reddit leak hit for Mass Effect, and I was like, man, I love Mass Effect so much. I should try doing something like that.
Really? Your channel was made
literally
when the Reddit leak happened?
No, that's when I'm like, I should do a Mass Effect channel. But I'm like, no, I shouldn't. Yeah, I should. No, I shouldn't. So a couple months later, and it took me a while to I needed to get a new computer. I needed to get some equipment. I needed to pull stuff together. But that was the inspiration moment where I'm like, hey, I could do a Mass Effect channel related to stuff coming out for Mass Effect Andromeda. But the idea of doing videos is something I wanted to do for a really long time. I just didn't have the right subject.
Oh, so because I could have sworn your channel was older, so I guess it was, and you had the channel, you just didn't know exactly.
No, my channel...
I thought your channel was...
My channel's not very old, no.
My channel's like 3 years old. I think maybe you're thinking mine.
I could be. Because
mine, I started up like mid-Inquisition development cycle.
I registered my channel name in June of 2015.
Yeah,
and I put out my first video on July 21st of 2015.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. It's
almost just pretty much a little bit more than a year ago.
Where do you see where you started?
If you just go to his channel and go to the oldest video, you can just kind of see from that. Although, to be fair, MassEffectFollower channel has been around for a while because we made a website. We'd never had any videos, so we didn't really start until late this year. But how I got into it was I was, after the Master Chief Collection launched, like a day after, I was brought on to Halo Follower as a writer. And from writing, I kind of started... in the chat, we were talking about a new branch of Follower, and Mass Effect came up, and I was very knowledgeable of Mass Effect, so I kind of pushed for that one, and that's the one that we made. And from there, we were making articles for that, and I was starting to learn how to make videos. So I was making videos for Valve Follower for a bit, and then went to make some videos for Halo Follower while getting Mass Effect Follower up and ready to be made into a YouTube channel. And so basically I just kept working over and over and over, and that's how Mass Effect Follower got made into a channel, and how I ended up on it was just dedication, just hard work throughout Follower.
Dedication, hard work.
The summer after my freshman year of college, I started my channel. And then I'm now a senior, so that's like about 3 years or so, I guess.
I'm actually
my
looking at
first video was a reaction to the Lead Them or Fall trailer for Dragon Age Inquisition. And there's a lot of old videos that are like unlisted that you can't see because they're so bad.
I have a couple of videos that I'm like, oh, these are really bad, but I keep them up because they're funny.
Or like I'll keep them there unlisted just to like for nostalgia. You know?
My first video was on March 7th, and that was the announcement of the year-long giveaway. Which it's changed from a year-long giveaway to until the game releases, which it's about a year. Anyways,
What's the next question?
All right. Andrew Ulrich says, how would you feel about having more than 7 companions, but you only had room on the Tempest for 7, and you had to go and switch them out physically, like in Fallout? And what if you couldn't have all the companions in the game because 2 or more of them were from opposing sides or factions? So you had to make a choice of who you would have with you.
Just no to this question. Just no.
I think it would be fun, but they're not going to do it.
I think it'd be fun if, like, throughout, there was a choice where you had to make a choice between squad mate A and squad mate B, and you couldn't do it because they're on opposing sides. So in one playthrough, you can have squad mate A, while in the other one, you have squad mate B. That'd be kind of like the Vermeer choice, where you could choose Ashley
I'm
or
okay
Kate.
with like a Vermeer choice. I'm not okay with like Fallout 4 system where you have to go pick them up physically.
I don't think that's what the question was.
I don't like that. Well, it was kind of where you had to go and switch them out physically, like in Fallout. Like maybe you can have 10 companions and only 5 can be on the Tempest, so you'd have to go to your settlement and back. I wouldn't like that.
No, that's a waste of time.
I would like the second part of the question, which is you couldn't have all companions because 2 are from opposing sides or factions, so you had to choose. Yeah,
I'm okay with
the
faction thing coming into play.
That's something I would like.
Yeah, that's something that I would
like
would
that
be
too.
cool.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
It would make replays really fun.
And it would add replayability right there. That one choice,
right then and there. Yeah.
The one issue with that is the same as we brought up a couple times on the show. You'd have to completely write another character.
Mm-hmm.
And then there'd be a loyalty mission that probably would be different. It would get complicated, but I think it would be enjoyable. I'm not sure it'd be best for resource management, but again,
I feel like it would be kind of like the Vermeer choice of, they had to fully make Ashley and fully make Caden under the idea of it could be either or. And with Mass Effect Andromeda
really similar roles, though. They feel really similar roles.
Well, I mean, they could be similar roles.
Keep in mind that Ashley and Caden, first of all, they have like a couple lines in Mass Effect 2, and in Mass Effect 3, they're there at the beginning, then they get hurt.
Well, yeah, but this is just the first one.
Yeah, but the point is that they didn't really have. They had half characters almost because of the time thing.
I don't know if you guys know this, but originally there was going to be a way where you could save both of them. There are actually some assets and dialogue that is in the game's files about Ashley and Caden both surviving.
You mean in Mass Effect 1, not Mass Effect 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Because in Mass Effect 3, there's this bug where I think it's like when you take Caden on your ship, there's this bug that happened for people. It's called the Ghost Ashley bug, where like when you go on the ship, like in the background of like the like I guess terminal or whatever, Ashley's just like standing there looking at you.
That's kind of really creepy. But no,
really
it was
creepy. She's like, "How dare you pick him over me?"
Originally, there was a way that you could make them both survive. I don't know how. I don't know if they described how or if that was just something that never was fully brought in. But the original idea, there was going to be a way that you could make them both live.
I did not know that.
Which, I don't know if we talked about this before, but I wanted to kind of bring something up of, do you ever feel like you're playing Mass Effect wrong if none of your squad mates really die, except for the ones that you have no choice, like the Vermeer one of them has to die.
No.
But if you just if you're like doing all the loyalty missions and no one dies in the suicide mission, and no one is dying in Mass Effect 1 except for Ashley or Caden, like you have
I call
Rex
that an
live.
ideal gameplay.
Yeah.
I
feel
call
like
that an ideal playthrough, yeah.
whenever
Yeah.
I do that, I feel like I'm playing it wrong, because I know the emotional drive behind the game is like, Earth is being, I mean, the Reaper's gonna but I just feel like,
Well, certain people will die no matter what, so I feel like that aspect is kind of taken care of, but I'd rather not fuck up, so...
I don't know, I always feel like I'm playing especially Mass Effect 2. I played Mass Effect 2, not a single squad mate dying. I feel like I played that wrong.
Yeah, I feel the exact opposite. I feel I played it right.
I feel I played it right, too.
I feel like I got the achievement. I don't give a shit.
Me and Minius are like high-fiving each
But
other.
I just
What's
kind of
up?
feel like,
Oh.
because especially at the end where they're like, this is for all of our crew members that died, and everyone's standing there, I'm like, who died?
Well, you got Thane, you got Morden,
In Mass Effect 2.
you got either Caden or Ashley.
I'm talking about Mass Effect 2.
But they don't have that scene. It's a
Yeah.
different scene.
What scene?
Yeah. If
In
you have...
in Mass Effect 2, when they're attacking the collectors, they're like, this is for all of those that have died and stuff. It's like...
Oh, that was the original Normandy crash. Like, the
I
Normandy
guess.
crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I
the next
think
question?
I think you're weird. Take that, weirdo. You need to kill people.
You need to... Speaking of killing people, our final question is from Scott Jones. And this person asks, do you think that disease could play a part of the story of Mass Effect Andromeda, as we are in a new galaxy with diseases that we are not yet exposed to?
Technically, it would be no different than in the Milky Way, because you'd go to different environments that you weren't exposed to the bacteria.
Bullshit. There are other diseases.
Like, I mean, sure, you'd have, like, different varieties, but you'd still have different varieties inside the Milky Way.
It technically it wouldn't matter
Yeah,
between
it technically
Andromeda and the
wouldn't
Milky
matter.
Way, but
Yeah, it wouldn't.
diseases never really play a huge role in sci-fi stories where all the races interact with each other.
There's that one disease, there's that plague that doesn't affect humans, though.
I can imagine, though, that there might be some part of the story of they go there and there's a disease that's really people up, and you have to go and try to find a cure, or you had to go and figure out a way, because these races, they know, it's like, oh, they're basically the Solarians of the Andromeda galaxy. They know all these diseases and cures, and they're the scientists of this galaxy. So you have to go and talk to them and get them on your side so they can fix you and your crew on the Ark.
I think they could do some neat things with it. It doesn't happen very often, I don't think. I'm thinking video games specifically, and it'd be tough not to do a disease thing that doesn't take over the story, unless you're able to kind of do something a little minor. Maybe a planet,
There's cooler things they can do.
like a planet you want to colonize, but you need to inoculate your population first and come up with a cure and go through some hoops.
Here's a far-fetched idea. We always talked about who the enemies in Mass Effect are going to be in Mass Effect Andromeda. What if the real enemies of it is a disease that is killing everyone, and you have to try to work with the people in the Andromeda galaxy because they're having the same issue? You have to work with them and combine the Milky Way galaxy's science with the Andromeda galaxy's science to try to find a cure for this plague in the Andromeda galaxy.
Sounds like a
Lame.
subplot.
Sounds lame.
Well,
to me.
again, I said this is a far theory.
Yeah.
I'm saying lame. I'm saying it's
I don't know if it's lame. It's a video game. You need to shoot people in the face.
They need to do something cooler than that.
Well, yeah, but they're also always going for a new story, something that's not done. That's not done. So if they could really
That would be correct.
if they could
yeah.
really figure it out to make that
It
work,
doesn't sound exciting at all to me. I'm very disinterested.
I think it'd be really cool though. I don't know, just because it's not done. It's not
With what they're trying to do with Andromeda, I don't think it's the direction they would want.
I think we need more plot points.
Yeah,
I think we need more
again,
plot. Yeah.
We need more plot.
We need more plot points.
I do want to note, everyone, that you still send us questions. Definitely, we very much love talking about them. But after this episode, if you're listening to it now and you haven't sent an email, you're kind of already too late. As this was just towards the end of the month, or for this month was the giveaway for sending us a question. But don't forget to come check out MassEffectFollower, where on October 1st, we will announce how to enter that month's giveaway. We're still going to have giveaways, and go check out the channel, but this one specifically, it would already be too late to enter.
September ends tomorrow, if you're listening to this.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to it late, then it might be already be over.
Yeah, so.
But you're in luck because I have a giveaway that's going to be Andromenerds related. So listen next week for more on that.
Sounds cool.
So I don't know if everyone knows this, but we run YouTube channels that have videos on them.
What?
What kind of videos do you think people should watch that you'd worked on?
Let's see. I'm pulling out some theory videos. We're going to be putting some of those, and we are having a new series on Follower, and it's going to be on Halo Follower, Mass Effect Follower, Destiny Follower, Star Wars Follower. Well, it's been on Star Wars Follower for a while, but we're going to be putting a whole new series on all the channels. So come check those out, because I don't want to say what they are, because I don't know if it'll be ready by that time.
Spoilers!
I don't know if it'll be ready by that time, but definitely check that out for a kind of video that I think, I mean, you guys would love too. I imagine so, which it's going to be really cool.
I just did a video about how the release date for Mass Effect Andromeda may have just been leaked inadvertently. So you may want to go check that out, because it seems pretty interesting. If I do say so myself.
Okay, the video that I want more people to watch is called Garrus Vicarian, Master of Seduction. I put it together. It's all quotes from Garrus. I laugh every single time I see it, and I spend a lot of hours on it.
Come here often. I imagine anyone who does is probably an alcoholic.
When did you put that one out?
About 5 months ago.
Okay,
in fact,
I was looking at your recent ones.
Yeah, I just love that video. I watched it again recently. That's all the nerdiness we've got for today. Join us next week as we talk about science.
Science!
If you have any questions for us, Mass Effect related or otherwise, feel free to email us at andromenerds@gmail.com, and your questions may be featured in an upcoming episode. Along with our co-hosts, be sure to follow Andromenerds on Twitter. If you like this podcast and would like to see some more awesome videos, be sure to check out and subscribe to our respective channels.
I accidentally left the hinterlands at one point, and I got scared, so I returned. I didn't like change.
My facial expression right now.
I found like this cave in this waterfall.
Oh, no, he didn't leave the hinterlands. He went into the cave in the hinterlands.
Well, no.
He's still
like,
in the
like
hinterlands.
Store. No, it was like this door, and I opened it, and it was like a loading screen. I was like, this isn't... Did I leave the hinterlands?
Tucker,
and
you're
I
still
looked
in
at the
the
map,
hinterlands.
and there was this entire new
Tucker.
area, and I turned around like, nope, and went back into
Tucker,
the hinterlands.
you're-
I'm like, I still got some quests to do.